Cara smiled at the crowd. All right, that's the stocking game. Drinks, everyone. Ornament decorating is next. Guests drifted back with fresh drinks and clustered around the long crafting table. Its surface was crowded with clear ornaments, sequins, ribbons, paint pens, and tubs of fake snow. Chairs scraped back as everyone settled in, the tidy setup immediately dissolving as hands reached across for supplies. Michelle and Liz take the far left. Next was Tanya and Nicole. Across from them were Carla and Carole. Susan and Hillary take the center. On the right side, Kelly and Whitney. On the far right, Rebecca, Chris, Marnie, Christina, and Kathy. And finally, at the bar, Tom, Brad, Rob, Bill, Don, Craig, and Gionni. Cara stayed standing, moving slowly behind the chairs. Michelle uncapped a gold paint pen and tested it on the scrap paper. I haven't done arts and crafts in forever. Liz picked up a ribbon. You'll be fine. Just don't shake the glitter too hard. Michelle nodded, already shaking it too hard. Right. Got it. Liz laughed quietly. Carla arranged a few tiny stickers in a neat line. I'm keeping mine simple. Carole dipped a brush into white paint. Simple's good. It'll look clean on the tree. Carla nodded. That's the plan. Susan tried to place a miniature reef inside her ornament, squinting as she maneuvered the tweezers. Hillary leaned over. Want me to hold it steady? Susan exhaled. Please. Hillary steadied the ornament while Susan adjusted the reef. There you go. Thank you, Susan said, relieved. Christina finally settled into an empty chair, leaning her elbow on the table like she needed it to stay upright. She uncapped a paint pen with her teeth. Kathy winced and started drawing on her ornament with slow, deliberate strokes. She hummed under her breath, a little off-key, a little too pleased with herself. Kathy glanced over first. She froze. Christina didn't look up. Yeah, babe? Kathy blinked. What exactly are you drawing? Christina squinted at her ornament, then at Kathy, then back at the ornament. It's seasonal. Seasonal? Kathy repeated. Yeah, Christina said, nodding too hard. It's like winter-themed. Very classy. Michelle leaned over from a few seats down. What's she making? Kathy tried to block the view with her hand. Nothing. It's fine. But Christina proudly lifted the ornament like she was unveiling a masterpiece. Look, it's a little, festive friend. Nicole caught a glimpse and choked on her drink. Oh my God. Tanya leaned in. What? What is it? Nicole covered her mouth, laughing. It's not for the tree. Christina frowned, offended. Why not? It's cute. It's like a little holiday situation. Michelle finally saw it and slapped a hand over her face. Christina, that is a penis. Christina gasped like they were the ones being inappropriate. It's a fucking candy cane, you animals! Kathy raised an eyebrow. Sweetheart, candy canes don't curve like that. Christina waved her off. It's an autistic turperation. Rob, from the bar, called over, Christina, what are you doing? She held up the ornament proudly. I made a Christmas Kathy clapped a hand over her mouth. Nope, no, we're done. Christina pulled her hand back, offended. What? It's nature. It's beautiful. Michelangelo would have loved this. Michelle groaned. Michelangelo is rolling in his grave. Christina shrugged, already adding glitter. Whatever, I'm putting it on my tree. Kathy sighed. That's the right place for it. The table dissolved into laughter, and Christina went right back to decorating, humming like nothing was wrong. Tom, Brad, Rob, Bill, Don, Craig, and Gionni leaned against the bar, drinks in hand, watching the ornament table from a comfortable distance. Tom shook his head. I'd make a mess if I sat over there. Brad laughed. You'd make a mess anywhere. Craig sipped his drink. They look like they're actually enjoying it. Don nodded. Better than me. Gionni wiped down the counter. They're doing good. Keeps the energy up. The men stayed where they were, content to observe rather than participate. The ornament table drifted from serious crafting into easy chatter. People leaned back, comparing what they'd made, flicking glitter off their sleeves, stretching their fingers after too much squeezing on those paint pens. Michelle held up her ornament to the light. Okay, this turned out way better than I expected. Liz leaned over for a closer look. It's cute. Seriously, be proud. Tanya clinked her ornament against Nicole's. Yours looks professional. Nicole laughed. Yours looks like it just came out of a snowstorm. Exactly, Tanya said. It's got personality. Across the table, Carla and Carole sat quietly, trading little smiles and admiring each other's work. Susan and Hillary were still fussing with the tiny reef inside Susan's ornament, trying to get it to sit just right. Kelly and Whitney compared ribbons, debating which color worked best. Whitney tied another bow for Kelly without saying a word. Kelly just smiled, a soft thank you. At the far end, Rebecca and Marnie rested their finished ornaments between them. They didn't talk, but the silence felt calm, like they were both soaking in the moment. Christina wandered back, ornament swinging from her fingers. She held it out, grinning. "Look at this! Tell me this ain't adorable!" Kathy studied it for a second, deadpan. "It's memorable." Christina's grin widened. "Exactly." The table still sparkled with stray glitter, and a few ornaments rolled gently as people shifted. Cara stepped forward on the stage, hands in front of her. "All right, everyone," she said, her voice warm but carrying easily across the room. "Now that you've all proven you can handle glue and glitter without injuring yourselves, mostly, let's move on." A few people laughed. Christina raised her hand like she was in school. "I ain't hurt nobody," she claimed, soft and slurred. Kathy patted her back. "Not physically, no." Cara shook her head, amused. "Anyway, holiday roast lightning round." Cara held up a hand. "Before anyone panics, let me explain the rules." "Rule 1, she said. "Keep it light. This is a roast, not a therapy session. If you wouldn't say it in front of your grandmother, don't say it here." Laughter rolled through the room. "Rule 2, she continued. "You get 1 roast per turn. Short, quick, clean. No monologues." "Rule 3, Cara said. "If you get roasted, you can either take it gracefully or you can fire back. But only once. No spiraling into a 10-minute back and forth." Nicole nodded. "So it's like verbal dodgeball." "Exactly," Cara said. "Fast, fun, nobody cries." Cara clasped her hands together. "And finally, Rule 4. If you cross a line, I'm shutting you down. No questions asked." Cara scanned the room, eyes moving from face to face. The ornament table, the bar, Christina leaning on the back of the chair like she needed to stay upright. "All right," she said, a spark of mischief in her voice. "Who should go first?" A few people pointed at each other. A few tried to look busy. Christina raised her hand for the 3rd time. Cara shook her head. "Not you." Christina groaned. "Why not?" "Because you're already warmed up," Cara said. "I need someone who's not expecting it." Cara let her gaze drift toward the bar. The guys straightened instinctively. Tom shook his head. "Nope, don't even think about it." Brad held up his drink. "We're spectators." Craig pointed at the ornament table. "This is a ladies' event." Gionni wiped the counter, amused. "Yeah, leave us out of this one." Cara laughed softly. "Relax. You're safe. For now." Cara tapped her fingers lightly on the chair back, then pointed. Not dramatically, just a simple, clean gesture. "Michelle," she said, "you're starting us off." Michelle froze mid-breath. "Me?" Liz grinned. "Oh, this is gonna be good." Michelle set her ornament down carefully, like she needed both hands free to process what was happening. "Okay, all right. I can do this." Christina perked up, smiling crookedly. "Yeah, you can, baby. Roast somebody. Make it spicy." Cara held up a hand. "Not too spicy. Remember the rules." Michelle took a breath, looked around the table, and then let her shoulders relax. "All right," she said, settling into it. "I know exactly who I'm starting with." Her gaze landed on Marnie. Marnie looked up from her ornament, calm on the surface, but her fingers paused for half a second. Michelle folded her hands onto the table. "All right," she said, voice steady. "I'll start with something simple." She gave a small, polite smile, the kind that wasn't actually polite at all. "Marnie," she said, "for someone who's been through all of that self-reflection, you still managed to walk into every room like you're surprised the consequences followed you inside." She gestured vaguely toward the bar. "And honestly, good for you. Growth is important." A few people exhaled. Marnie's jaw tightened for a moment, but she didn't look away. Michelle sat back, smoothing her sweater. "That's it. I'm done." Cara nodded once, approving. "Quick, clean, within the rules." Marnie lifted her chin a little. "All right," she said, voice low but clear. "My turn." She shifted in her seat, turning just enough to face Michelle directly. "Michelle," she said, "you're not exactly the poster child for perfect decisions either, so don't come at me like you're above it." Marnie leaned in a fraction, not aggressive, just honest in that blunt way she had when she was done pretending. A few eyebrows lifted around the table. Michelle's mouth tightened. Cara nodded once. "Good, within the rules." The room held the moment, balanced and quiet, waiting to see who Cara would call next. Cara scanned the table, then nodded toward Cris. "All right, your turn." Cris uncrossed her arms, sat forward, and gave Liz a long, measured look. Okay, Cris said. Liz, you have this thing where you sprinkle drama around like it's Parmesan cheese. Little bit here, little bit there, and suddenly the whole room tastes different. A few people laughed under their breath. Liz's eyebrows lifted. All right, noted. Cara gestured. Your turn. Liz didn't hesitate. Cris, she said, you talk about me stirring things up, but you walk into every room like you're carrying the heaviest story in it. Cris swallowed once, jaw tightening for a moment before she let out a slow breath. She didn't snap back. She didn't deflect. She just nodded. Okay, Cris said quietly. Fair. Cris picked up her ornament again, turning it in her hands. Liz looked down at hers too, both of them letting the moment pass without letting it linger. Cara scanned the table again, ready to choose the next roaster. Tanya, you're up. Tanya cracked her knuckles like she'd been waiting for this. Susan looked up from her ornament, already suspicious. All right, Susan, she said, leaning forward. You and Hillary gotta stop queerbaiting the moment you walk into a room. I'm a lesbian. I know what flirting looks like. I also know what denial looks like. And you two are both doing it at the same time, which is honestly impressive. A few people choked back laughs. Susan blinked, caught between offense and disbelief. Cara lifted a hand. All right, that's enough. Susan, you get one back. Tanya, she said. You're very confident for someone who thinks every woman within 10 feet of another woman is secretly dating. Tanya's eyebrows shot up. Susan kept going, calm but sharp. Maybe let people figure out their own stuff without assigning them a label before they've even finished a sentence. Cara points to Nicole. Give Whitney one. Nicole leaned in, voice light but pointed. Whitney, babe. For someone who clearly has money, a great job, perfect hair, and a skincare routine that probably costs more than my rent, it's kind of wild that none of us have actually met your husband. At this point, I'm starting to think he's either imaginary or in witness protection. Cara nodded. Whitney, your turn. Nicole, she said. You're bold talking about my finances when you treat every group outing like it's sponsored. You haven't paid full price for anything since 2019. Nicole's jaw dropped. Excuse me? Whitney smiled, small and lethal. I'm just saying, if there's a discount code within a 5-mile radius, you'll find it. Cara glanced toward the bar, eyes narrowing with mischief. Don, you're up. Don groaned like someone had just handed him cafeteria duty. Fine, let's do this. Brad smirked, already leaning back like he was posing for a billboard. Don turned toward him, exasperation already in his voice. Brad, you are the only real estate agent I know who can make a 2-bedroom ranch sound like a spiritual awakening. And every time you talk about a listing, you act like you personally handcrafted the crown molding. You didn't. A guy named Tony did. For $18 an hour. Brad put a hand to his heart. Wow, disrespectful to Tony. Cara gestured. All right, Brad, your turn. Brad sat forward, grin widening. Ton, buddy. Every time you send an email, we brace ourselves. You write like you're announcing a snow day, a budget cut, and a lockdown drill all in the same sentence. And you sign everything best on, like that softens the blow. It doesn't. It never has. Don threw up his hands. Because you people don't read the first email. Cara stepped in, laughing. All right. Perfect. That's the energy. Cara scanned the room, eyes landing on the bar. Tom, she said, you're up. Tom straightened like he'd been waiting to be called into the game. Finally! Kelly looked up from her ornament, calm, polite, already bracing. Tom grinned. You are the only person I know who can make arts and crafts look like a performance review. I swear, watching you tie a bow feels like I'm being judged for my entire life. Kelly blinked once, slowly. Okay. Cara nodded. Your turn, Kelly. Kelly set her ornament down gently, folding her hands. Tom, she said, you talk a lot for someone who's wrong most of the time. Tom threw his hands up. I'm not wrong that often. Kelly tilted her head. You once argued that Vermont was west of Ohio. Cara stepped in, laughing. All right, that's perfect. Moving on. Cara scanned the room, eyes landing on Craig, who was mid-sip of his drink and immediately looked nervous. Craig, Hillary, she said. You're up. Craig groaned. Oh, come on! Didn't even do anything! Hillary raised an eyebrow. Yet. Craig pointed at her. See? This is why! Cara gestured. Go ahead. Craig took a breath, squared his shoulders, and turned toward Hillary. All right, Hillary, he said. I'm just gonna say it. You have perfected the art of looking disappointed without moving a single muscle in your face. It's honestly terrifying. Hillary blinked once, slowly. Noted. Cara nodded. Your turn, Hillary. Craig, she said. You own more ties than you have actual outfits. At this point, it feels like the ties are wearing you. Craig sputtered. What does that even mean? Hillary continued, deadpan. It means you dress like a man who thinks personality comes in paisley. Even Don choked on his drink. Craig threw his hands up. I like patterns. Hillary nodded. We know. Cara stepped in, laughing. Perfect. Clean hit. Moving on. Cara exhaled, scanning the room. All right, Rebecca and Rob. Rebecca didn't even pretend to hesitate. She turned toward Rob with that slow, dangerous smile she only used when she was about to ruin someone's night in a controlled, socially acceptable way. Rob, she said, I'm gonna keep this short. You're out here juggling Christina, Bill, and Kathy like it's a circus act, and you still act shocked when people look confused. Babe, you're confused. Rob rubbed his face, muttering, Jesus Christ, before sitting up straighter. Rebecca, he said, you talk about my chaos, but at least mine comes with a schedule. Yours shows up like a weather event. Rebecca opened her mouth, then closed it, impressed despite herself. Cara scanned the room. Bill, Gionni, she said, you're up. Bill cracked his neck like he was about to enter a boxing ring. Oh, I've been waiting for this. Gionni smirked, adjusting his watch like he was posing for a magazine cover. Bill pointed at him. All right, Gionni, I'm just gonna say it. You dress like you're constantly waiting for someone to ask you for a business card. Gionni raised an eyebrow, amused. Cute. Cara nodded. Your turn, Gionni. Bill, he said. You tell every story like it's a life or death epic. You went to Costco, Bill, not war. Bill threw his hands up. It was crowded. Gionni nodded. So is your storytelling. Cara stepped in, laughing. Perfect. Moving on. Cara scanned the table, eyes landing on Maria, who was already shaking her head like she knew she was about to get herself into trouble. Maria, Carla, Cara said, you're up. Maria pointed at her. You'll be sitting there, completely silent, and somehow I still feel like you're judging me. And the worst part, you probably are. Carla blinked once. Probably. Cara nodded. Your turn, Carla. Maria, she said. You talk like you're the main character, but you have side character follow-through. Carla continued, still serene. You start 10 things a week and finish none of them. You're basically a walking pilot episode. Cara took a breath, bracing herself. All right, last one. Christina and Kathy. Christina perked up like someone had plugged her into an outlet. Oh, finally! I've been waiting! Kathy looked up from her ornament, already smiling politely, the kind of smile that said, I'm ready, but I'm not scared. Christina planted a hand on her hip, Queen's accent already at full volume. Aight, Kathy, let me tell you something real quick. Don't even get me started on how you handle Bill. You got him wrapped up like a damn Christmas present. He listens to you like you're the voice of God. Meanwhile, I gotta yell like I'm calling a cab on Queens Boulevard. Kathy blinked once, slowly. Are you done? Christina threw her hands up. For now. Cara nodded. Kathy, your turn. Christina, she said softly. You talk too much, like you're auditioning for a reality show that doesn't exist. Christina's mouth dropped open. Excuse me? Cara stepped in, laughing. And that is the perfect place to end the roast round. Michelle whispered. She's gonna fucking explode. Gionni leaned back like he was watching premium cable. Kathy just smiled politely, which somehow made it worse. Bill immediately jumped in, hands up like he was approaching a wild raccoon. Babe, hey, it's a roast, okay? A roast. You're good. You're fine. Nobody's mad. Nobody's fighting. We're all having fun. Christina whipped toward him, eyes blazing. Fun? You call this fun? She said I talk too much, Bill. Me! I don't even talk that much. Bill panicked. You talk a normal amount, a healthy amount, like a breeze. Christina stared at him like he just insulted her entire bloodline. A breeze? A fucking breeze? Bill backpedaled so fast he nearly tripped. A warm breeze! A nice breeze! Like summer! Tanya whispered. He's dead. Rob leaned forward from the bar, smirking. Honestly, Christina, she's not wrong. You do come in hot. Like, every time. It's kind of your thing. The entire table inhaled like they were watching a car crash in slow motion. Bill's eyes went wide. Rob, buddy, please don't. Christina turned toward Rob so slowly it was almost cinematic. Oh, so now you want to talk about my energy. Miss I can't manage a calendar to save my fucking life? Mr. I can block aisles faster than you? Mr. I got opinions but no damn solutions? Rob blinked. Okay, that feels personal. Christina stood up halfway in her chair. Good. Let it feel personal. Maybe you'll remember it. Rob, still not reading the room, shrugged. I'm just saying, you're loud. Christina gasped like she'd been shot. I'm loud? I'll show you loud. Bill practically threw his hands around her shoulders. Nope, we're done. Roast is over.